Hello. Before being a movie, My Cousin Rachel is a novel of the same name written by Daphne du Maurier. How have you approached this book to write your screenplay?
Well, it's a wonderful book. It was written in 1950. There was a film made shortly afterwards in 1952 by Fox, starring Olivia de Havilland and Richard Burton. In fact, Olivia de Havilland still lives in Paris. She's 103, I think, and she was made a Dane last year. So it was a well-known book which I came to by accident and read and was instantly compelled by, and I wanted to make a film.
Okay. Did you know the 1952 Henry Coster film before working on this one? Which are for you the main differences between this one and yours?
I took the trouble not to watch the original film.
Of course.
I still haven't seen it, so it's something I'll look forward to watching soon.
What kind of difficulties have you met during the shooting of this movie?
It's often difficult finding landscapes now in England which are not covered in roads or electricity pylons or evidence of the 20th century and 21st century. The other great difficulty was I've never worked with so many animals. Animals are very hard to direct.
Good. I made an interview with Roy Jones in Los Angeles with my team. And this question is, what can you tell us about your collaboration with him on this film, and how have you worked together on this one?
Rail came on after we'd finished a preliminary cut of the film.
Okay.
And Rail and Jeremy Sams, who also worked on the music, worked away producing many different alternative themes. We listened a lot to scores from other thrillers, particular Hitchcock thrillers, and Rail started to bring us little pieces which we laid up against the film in the normal way. And I think I don't think I've ever done a film where the music is so important, and Rail has done a really top job.
Good. Rachel Weisz is just perfect on this movie because she's very sensitive and strong also. How have you worked with her on this film?
Well, she's a great person to work with. She's a great collaborator. We rehearsed for quite a long time before we started shooting. She asked me initially, is she guilty or innocent? And my reply was, even if I knew, I don't think I'd tell you. And indeed, I don't want to know what you think. I think that should be your secret that you keep from me, because nobody should ever know whether you're guilty or innocent.
What can you tell us about the rest of the casting? For example, for Sam Claflin, Iain, Glen, and others.
Sam Claflin is a very talented and glorious young British talent who I saw initially in a film called The Riot Club, a film of a play called Pot. And it's filled with bright young English actors, and I thought that he was really perfect for this role, and got him in and met him and screen tested him, and we're so lucky to have had him take on this difficult part, which is simultaneously sympathetic and attractive and unsympathetic and impetuous and irascible and infuriating, and he's really done a good job.
How have you chosen the different elements to give the impression that the action of this movie really take place in the 19th century, for example, costume and others?
The film is set at some point in the 1830s.
Yes.
It's not clear from the novel exactly when. And so I decided to set it sort of just before the arrival of the steam locomotive, so sometime in the 1830s. So that's before Dickens, but after Jane Austen. So in a kind of strange period before crinoline in costumes. Yes. So we made careful choices about the style and the colour of the costumes and how they would relate to the decor provided by the production designer. We were careful not to be over accurate. It's not an accurate prediction, it's not an accurate depiction of life in the 1830s, but it's a version.
Can you tell us an anecdote about this movie?
Oh, I can tell you an anecdote about the day that Rachel rode off on a lovely white horse who had been trained to lie down if the reins were pulled in a certain way, and Rachel didn't know this, and she pulled the reins in this particular way, and the horse lay down virtually on top of Rachel, to our horror and consternation, and there was a deathly hush until she was recovered from beneath this massive white horse.
I am one of the big fans of Notting Hill, Changing Line, Morning Glory. How do you choose a project for a movie?
I just I try and let the project choose me. I try and find something in the project which is so interesting and so fascinating that I think it's going to keep me absorbed for the year or 2 or 3 years it takes to make a film.
Your movie was presented yesterday night during the closing evening of the Champs-Élysées Film Festival. Do you see a lot of French movies, and which are your favorite and why?
I don't see nearly enough French films. I don't see enough films. I just don't seem to have enough time to see all the films that I'd like to see. I used to be a massive fan of French movies. When I was a student, I would watch all the films by the new wave directors like Godard and Truffaut and Chabrol, etc., etc. I'm afraid I'm very behind in my knowledge of French movies. But from the evidence of the festival last night, they are flourishing and doing very well.
Yeah. What are your favorite movies?
Oh, it's a hard question. I like Band Apart.
Yes.
I like Lawrence of Arabia.
Okay.
And I think I'd like to choose also Amarcord by Fellini.
Okay. What kind of advice could you give to someone who would like to work as a director?
It's very simple. When I was a young man, if I wanted to make a film, I'd have to have a whole film crew with me.
Yes.
Lights, sound, camera, etc.
Yeah.
Nowadays,
fun.
Make a film on your phone.
I made a movie with this actually.
I made a little film with
Yes? Okay.
on my phone once. Well, not on my phone, but on some other phones. Make a film on your phone, cut it on your laptop,
Yes.
distribute it on the
Yes.
web,
Yeah.
start making films.
Good. And my last question, what are your current projects?
I can't discuss them. There are 1 or 2 things that I'm considering doing, but I'm not yet fully advanced enough to be able to discuss that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.